Nobody ever talked about what postpartum would be like. The only type of advice I got was, oh, make sure you're eating enough, make sure you're drinking enough water, wear compression stuff so that your body isn't hanging out. But no one talked about mental health implications and what it might do to you. Even some women who I know dealt with it themselves didn't warn. Not, I mean, I know it's not up to them to warn me. I should have done my own research and kind of been prepared, but I didn't know that my complex trauma would affect me in postpartum because I didn't even know I had complex trauma at the time. So it all came to head after I had my first baby. I felt like complete and utter crap. First of all, because I was on magnesium when I had him. So coming out of that was horrible. I had to spend a whole night on a separate floor from the mother unit because I had these giant blow up things that had to like massage my legs. I'm pretty sure I had preeclampsia that was not diagnosed until I was giving birth. The questionnaire to doctors when you go for visits with your baby, I just don't think they were very helpful. They didn't really encompass everything that I could have been feeling. And I didn't start seeing a therapist until almost 1 year postpartum. And then I started talking to her about stuff. And then I started seeing a psychiatrist maybe a month after. And this was a psychiatrist she recommended. She went to school with him. And it was a man who had maybe had dealt with postpartum, but like he was a man. And I saw this doctor for, I kid you not, for 8 years. And anytime I talked to him, he wouldn't even listen to what I was actually going through. He would just hear one or two symptoms and prescribe me something to help me with those symptoms instead of actually figuring out what, when, why all these symptoms start coming up. And so I just blindly took whatever medicine he gave me because I just assumed he was there to help me. Well, guess what? The meds he put me on for 8 years caused terrible things to happen. After a while, I picked up on my own patterns, and within the year, like when I'm going to feel good and when I'm not going to feel good. So that became a pattern, and I just masked. I just put on a happy face, pretending like everything's okay. But I had so much turmoil going on inside, and I wasn't even able to express it. That's the worst part about it all, is that I wasn't even able to say things out loud, even to my therapist. I don't think I was honest even with her at that point, with how I was feeling really inside. And that felt so isolating. First of all, I was isolating myself. I felt isolated by others. I felt like people that said they would be there for me weren't. And I'm not just talking like friends or people or acquaintances, but family. Family who said they would be by my side, who said they would be helping me, weren't. They were nowhere to be found. So I had my son, therapy, medicine. Then I had my daughter 2 years later. And 6 months after I had her, and I just did more therapy. At that point, I was just doing more therapy, getting on different meds, trying out meds. And let me just say that Lexapro felt like I was taking it to help me, but really I was shoving myself into a deeper, darker hole for like 8 years. And then he put me on other medicine. So we kept going, like, trying different things for a while. Even when I was on the Lexapro for a few years, like, he would add and subtract other stuff. Then, last year, he put me on a cocktail of things after my second breakdown. And then I stopped taking everything, completely started taking everything, not cold turkey, obviously, I weaned myself off, and fired that psychiatrist. I was so tired of not being heard and only being given something for my symptoms, because that's not what I was trying to treat. I wanted to, like, feel better. So then I found a new psychiatrist who's a woman, also a mom of younger kids, who actually understood what I was feeling and going through and felt empathy for me for the last several years that I was kind of going through this ordeal. And she put me on a new medication that's completely different class than any of the other stuff that the other doctor put me on. 6 months into my treatment with her, I feel like a completely different person. I wish I advocated for myself sooner, Like, if I wasn't getting better, why didn't I say something? It's because I was used to the isolation and the shutting my mouth, because my mom went through all the abuse that she went through and she never told anyone. She just kind of took it and accepted it, I guess. So even though the hardships my mom and I went through were not the same, my response was the same because of her response. So that was a learned response. And I kept quiet for all those years, postpartum. 9 years to be exact. Yeah, I have so much empathy and love for that version of me. And I just want to hug her. She persevered, you know? Like, she went through all that shit, but she found herself, she found her way, and figured it out. And at the end of the day, I realized, like, even with the support system, going through the things that I was going through, like, in my head, I didn't see my support system as a support system. It took me a while to feel safe in my own body, so I'm here now, though, so that's all that matters. I have arrived. And I also want to mention that there were times where very deep thoughts about self-harm and harming others, but harming others never actually was something I wanted to do. It was just a thought. And hurting myself, though, was definitely something I did in different ways. And yeah, that's what led me to my 2 nervous breakdowns. Thanks for listening.